This is Jordan Tower with JT News. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you hit that like button. And I'm not even going to try to sell you hoodies anymore because you guys, it doesn't matter. Anyways, let's get right into it. So 50 Cent and Jim Jones are having an issue. 50 Cent's scared of Jim Jones because Freaky Zeke wants to hit him in the face. Well, the real issue here is 50 Cent broke up Dipset. Remember? Nobody remembers that. Now that Jim Jones and 50 Cent are having a problem. They used to be best buds when he split up Dipset. Let's get right into this on this one right here and tackle this issue.
Well, today we are discussing how 50 Cent single-handedly destroyed Dipset. Now, some of you might not agree with me, but some of you will agree with me, maybe after I spell it out for you. I mean, it's just something that happened, and it's not all 50 Cent's doing, but he was the person that put the seed in there to kind of break it all apart. Even if you disagree with me, stay tuned, hit that like button, and let's go through this little journey. Okay, so we got Cameron, the head of Dipset. He built it up. You know, he came out with his Confessions of Fire, STE album, then went over to Rockefeller, dropped Come Home With Me. After that, Dipset was on fire. He introduced Joel Santana. They had Diplomatic Immunity, the Diplomats albums, and, you know, he was introducing everybody in his crew. Cameron put a lot of people on, okay? He put on Joel Santana. He put on Jim Jones. He put on Freaky Zeke. He put all his people on. He put on Hell Rell. He put on J.R. Ryder, 40 Cal. He put all these people, he introduced all these people to the world. Dipset was the crew in New York along with G-Unit, okay? Now, what happened was Cameron was dropping albums and Joel's was dropping albums. They were both on, you know, Rockefeller Def Jam, okay? I think Joel Santana had a straight deal with Def Jam. Cameron had Rockefeller Def Jam, okay? So they were rocking. Now, Jim Jones never got put out by Rockefeller or Def Jam. He ended up going to Koch Records around 04 and dropped his album, and that's when, you know, Ballin' and everything came like a year or two later. But first he had that album, then he had another album after that which really blew up with the whole Ballin', okay? So now you had the On My Way to Church album, then I think on Hustler's Poem, if I'm correct, on 06 you had Ballin'. This is when shit got crazy, okay? Because now you got Jim Jones, who's always been with Cameron and kind of running Dipset with Cameron. He's coming into his own. He's got his own. He's the guy now. Like, he had a little bit more juice in 06 than Cameron, meaning he had hit records out, okay? So, you know, you get behind Ballin', you know, and, you know, Max B, Stack Bundles was down with Jim Jones. He was moving with his own crew, Bird Gang, but still Dipset. But there was a little friction there, okay? Because whenever you get the guy that's the underling, like a Jim Jones, and kind of comes into his own and feels like he has as much power as Cameron, it creates a little tension, just at least for a little bit, until everything kind of evens out. Joel Santana kind of always played his place as the artist. He liked being the artist. Eventually, he had his own crew, Skull Gang, but, you know, he liked being Dipset. And there was a little tension between Jim and Cameron. Well, what broke this up is when Jim Jones was up in Harlem filming a video off his album. I think it was Poem. I forget what it was called, man. But I think it was the church. I was there for this video. I was filming the behind the scenes. I was with Joel Santana, and we went over there. He was doing his part. And I remember this like yesterday, okay? So I guess 50 Cent was on the radio at this time, and he was, you know, airing everybody out, blah, blah, blah. But Alan, they were talking, he was kind of talking down about Koch, like Koch is like a graveyard for artists to go and everything. And Alan Grunblatt gassed Cameron up to call 50 and start like a little beef, okay? I don't know if it was just Alan Grunblatt. The story I hear is that Alan Grunblatt gave him like 2 S550s, but that might be a fairy tale. Plus, Cameron was probably with it too, because he's about album sales too. So they started a beef with 50, calling up, kind of defending the Koch territory, like, hey, we're selling units up here. Jim Jones is up here selling 300,000 on indie, and you guys are on major selling that much, you know. So he called up. So this is the infamous call right here. where he called up and they had a little beef, okay?
Who is it, Mom? Who is it?
Cameron and Alan Run Black from Koch Records.
Cameron?
What's your relationship with Cam? Do you have one?
Problems. We good.
No problems.
Yeah, I ain't had no issues with him.
What
about me, Alan?
What's that?
What about me?
Hi.
How you doing?
Doing good.
You want to talk? You want to be in the air? Like an artist?
Hey, yeah, you know what? Just because I've been just hearing a lot of negativity, and, Koch Records, we distribute Diplomat Records, and,
well, Diplomats are cool, but put Cam on the phone.
Diplomat Records, and we pay them.
Put Cameron on the phone.
And,
Put Cameron on the phone. Listen, let me explain something to you. I'm saying to you, I got projects over there. I just signed off. Right. I just let him do that deal.
Hey, what is portion of your success? How much Lloyd Banks sold?
Well, Lloyd Banks is at 300,000.
And he's on a major, and Jim is at 300,000.
Right. And that's great for Jimmy, because Jimmy's not, that's great for Jimmy. You're not going to be, you can cause a whole different situation. Watch this.
How much
Let's not make it a different situation.
So I was with Joel Santana and Jim Jones when this happened. I remember when this radio call went down because Jim Jones, Joel Santana, and Freaky Zeke all went to the back of this church and they were talking, and you could tell that they were kind of like blindsided by this whole beef that happened with Cameron and 50 Cent. And remember, 50 Cent had just destroyed Ja Rule's career not too many years before this and had been like hurting careers of Fat Joe and Jadakiss, just going back at them, and he was just steamrolling over people. So, and Jim Jones was at the height of his career at this time, so it was like, damn, he didn't even know about this that was going to go down. He wasn't prepared, and he was worried that, hey, this is going to affect my career right now. So I remember the tension. They went in the back and talked this over. I knew things weren't right. Then, just a week later, this is when YouTube was pretty new, okay? 50 Cent released a video on YouTube, and so did Cameron. And they go videos going at each other.
Cam, I was being nice to him. Okay, I get it.
Now notice how 50 Cent, during that song, reorganized Dipset, telling Cameron that he's irrelevant in Dipset. Jim Jones is the head of Dipset. It was fueling a tension that already existed. He knew this, and he got in their minds, and he kind of fueled a tension between Jim Jones and Cameron. And Joel's kind of just played in the middle. He didn't take any sides, right? Joel's was already in limbo because he was waiting to get off Def Jam, because now, remember, Jay-Z was the head of Def Jam at this time. They didn't get along with Jay-Z, and Joel's was kind of shelved at this time. He didn't want to be on Def Jam, and he was kind of just waiting it out, okay? So then this is the ultimate point where you kind of saw where everything stood between Jim Jones and Cameron, okay? 50 Cent was hosting a show, and guess what?
And I'm back. It's your boy 50 Cent bringing you more Rap City. It's going down right here. I know this is your favorite show right now because I'm on it. And I told y'all earlier I was going to bring somebody new in the G Unit. I might have a new sign and I might not. You see, I got the whole G Unit here. We're going to get it going. Ah! Oh, man. Hey, what you know? It's your man Jim Jones right here. Bought you the biggest record of last year, right?
Oh yeah, we had a nice time last year.
What we call that?
I was balling, we still balling. It's about big baby.
It's balling. You know, so
man, we got this.
So why was you here? Well, we gotta do that one time. Tell me how to show you how you do it.
You pass me the ball.
Now this was the ultimate betrayal at this point, because he was siding with 50 Cent in the beef. And it kind of drove a wedge in Dipset, and Dipset was split at this point. Cameron was doing him, Jim Jones is doing him, Joel's is doing him. There was no unity in Dipset anymore, and it just kind of fell apart from this point. They tried to make a reunion happen a few years ago. Obviously that failed, and we know what happened recently between Cameron and Jim Jones, them calling each other out and everything. And you know, it was just a mess. So basically, that was the end of Dipset right there. When Jim Jones went on that show with 50 Cent during the beef, it showed that he was cool with it. He was siding with 50 Cent, not siding with Cameron. And that was the end, because we always pictured Cameron and Jimmy are the glue in Dipset. You know, those the brothers right there. And it kind of ruined what we thought. Remember, at this time, Cameron had disappeared after this point because I think his mom got sick, so he went to go take care of her. His mom got sick at that time, and he had to go take care of her. And, you know, he wasn't worried about this shit anymore. You know, family first, right? But that was the end of Dipset right there. That was it. You know, of course, Cameron's always a legend. Jim Jones is always a legend. Jewels is always a legend. You got Hell Railjar, right? They're all legends in their own. But I'm just saying, as a collective, Dipset, that crews end at one point. Like G-Unit ended at one point. You know, when Game and Buck and all them were breaking off. That was the end of G-Unit as we knew it. You know, that's the end of Dipset as we know it. But it's always like, it was a moment in time. All right, hit the like button. Appreciate you guys. Peace.